So if you're thinking about opening up your relationship, how can you start? What things do you want to consider? I'm here with Erika Capon from the openphotoproject.com, and I'm Cathy Martilli from the intimacydojo.com. And Erika, thanks for being here.
Hi, Cathy. Always nice to talk to you.
It's so fun. And there are many different ways to have a relationship. We're not saying that you're wrong if you're monogamous or if you're non-monogamous or how you're moving forward in this. But if you're in a monogamous relationship and you haven't had an open relationship before, there are some things to consider if you're just thinking, do I do this or not? You've talked to so many different people as part of the Open Photo Project, Erika. Can you share some of the things that they either wish they'd considered before they opened up or that they did consider and I'm glad they did?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, one thing that I have encountered is that I think there's so many ways to go about it. There's no real one way, but there are some common threads of things that work for people or things that were really hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think, of course, ideally, obviously, perhaps, but maybe needs to be said, both people are on board with the idea. If you are in a monogamous relationship and you're considering opening up your relationship, hopefully it's something that both people are excited about or at least willing to try, even if they're a little scared, but having that openness and honesty and not feeling coerced is huge.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really important that if both people aren't on there trying to push one person to do it is not a good way to go forward, and maybe finding someone that can help you talk through your needs with them is a good idea.
Yeah, and then just having a lot of communication about it. Sometimes before anything even happens, just talking it to death, I think, can be really helpful. Like, what about this? What about that? And checking out a bunch of resources and talking with other people, because there's not that many kind of teachers or benchmarks or things to expect that we know to expect in non-monogamy. So to talk about what with your partner, like what do you imagine from this? And that said, also kind of to go along that, if your relationship is already really struggling because your communication is not going well, or you're really having a hard time getting on the same page with a whole bunch of other things, opening your relationship is generally not something I would advise to save the relationship.
Yeah, it's not. It's like having a baby to save your relationship. It's generally not a good idea.
Having a baby can be amazing.
Yes.
And having an open, honest, consensually non-monogamous relationship can be amazing. But not if you're trying to save a relationship that already is having a really, really hard time. It's an added stress, I think. Anytime you add it, it's emotionally complex. Also similar to having a baby, and you have to be feeling strong in yourself and with your partner for that to really be able to feel good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think if you have any doubts about your relationship skills, now's the time to get them really, really dialed in, because Reed uses the analogy, if your car's a little bit out of alignment, but you're just driving it to the grocery store a couple times a week, it's not that big a deal. You notice that you have to do a little effort, got to keep, steering to the right, for example, but you start adding in additional people into that relationship. It's the same as going faster on the freeway. You're going to really notice, hey, I'm not good at talking about things that are challenging. I need to get that down, because the drama can get exponentially big in relationships when you add more people in, versus I love the idea of adding more freedom and more love and more connection into relationships, and they can be really wonderful, but the complexity, like you said, can be a big problem.
Yeah, and that said, with everything that you said, I really agree with. And also, I don't think that I think that one could overthink and say, oh, I'm just not ready, so I don't want to do it yet because I might feel jealous, for example, or something. And I've actually spoken through the Open Photo Project with several people who weren't 100% sure. They were, maybe their partner definitely wanted it more than them, and they were kind of like, well, I'll try it, and maybe that, and then eventually they decided it did work for them. And a lot of times in the process, they get so many skills. Like I have talked to people specifically who said, I used to be a really jealous person, and I still tried an open relationship, and I worked on it, and I like took myself to therapy and thought about it, and I figured out if I just shift my thinking, it really changes things for me. And of course, not everybody can or wants to or should do that, but it really can push people, I think, to work on things that are beneficial regardless of if you're in a non-monogamous relationship.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. I used to be very, very jealous and insecure. I still sometimes get there, but I thought jealousy was my partner's problem because they weren't watching out for things versus my problem where I was trying to hold things to a certain script and getting needs met. And being part of open relationships and hanging out with people that are really savvy on that, wow, there's certain skills you can actually, there's techniques you can apply so that jealousy doesn't run away with your relationship. And I'm so grateful for that, and I wish more people knew about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess like overall general advice for opening a relationship, just keep communicating with your partner. If you want to, be on the same page with expectations. One thing that we didn't mention, don't necessarily be attached to a specific outcome. Like, I would say keep in the communication and be open to what presents, because you don't know what feelings are going to come up or what people you're going to meet. And trying to micromanage it, you will get surprises. So like be available to accept, the unexpected.
Yeah, no, it is, because you don't know who you're going to find attractive and who's going to want to either bond with you and your partner or just you, or it looks very different often than we picture in our own head. Thanks very much, Erika. I'd love to come back and do another video for the steps people can take once if they've thought about it and they actually want to move forward, what some initial steps they can take. Okay. So if you leave, please leave comments and questions below. We'll do our best to get back to you with them answers.
Have a good one.